Hello, Art of Passion and Intimacy. This is Violet Lang, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. And I'm going to be having a special guest. Her name is Meisha, and she has a beautiful journey of becoming a queen and doing lots of healing work. So I am not always great with technology, so I just tried to do this, and I wasn't able to do it. So let me try this one more time and see if we can bring her in. Otherwise, I have one other idea and one other solution. So I'm hoping you're having a great Monday and that you're enjoying the beautiful spring weather and that you are finding a way to find your pleasure today, to be in your feminine, to be connected to your five senses. And yes, here's Meisha. Just bringing her in. Hi, Meisha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so glad we found a way to make this
Me
work. Good
too,
job.
me too. We did it.
That's awesome. Yay. Thank you. Thanks for being part of this and for sharing your time and your heart and your wisdom. I'm just really, really grateful to be connecting with you
Me
today.
too. I'm really happy as well.
Amazing. Well, Meisha, why don't you just share a little bit about who you are, like where you live and maybe what you do or where you're from, whatever you feel called to share, and if you want to share about being a mom as well.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I live in Northern California, right outside of San Francisco, and I am a single mom. I have been actually married two different times, but I can say that my the second marriage that I had, that's really where a lot of the awareness and the awakening started to happen for me, which was 8 years ago, and. And so I've been on a healing journey to discover who I am and what my greatest fears have been and how to overcome them and how to actually just be with them and to recognize that they are making me and have made me the woman that I am today, and to yeah, just to really tap into the wisdom of like the shadow part in me. So I can say that I've been doing a lot of shadow work and releasing a lot of shame.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate you sharing that. And I'm curious, so tell me a bit about like what were some of the fears that you had maybe 6, 7 months ago, and how have those been transforming?
So I think the greatest fear that I discovered was fear of my feelings, fear of
Mm,
of emotion, actually, fear of sadness, fear of anger, not really knowing how to be with the sadness and the anger. And so I've been on a journey of opening that up and actually seeing that it is part of my being a woman and being in my feminine energy, that those emotions are actually the key to opening more intimacy and the key to um, creating actually more safety. When I used to think that my feelings created an like a feeling of unsafety, I've had to train myself to feel safe in my body again, and to train myself that emotions are part of being in my feminine energy, which then attracts really more satisfying relationships with everybody, not just men, but my daughter and all of the people that I meet.
I love how you're transforming your relationships through transforming the relationship with yourself and with your feminine and with your feeling state. So we had the joy of coming into contact with each other, I think about 8 months ago or so. And so could you just tell a little bit about what your life was like then and what drew you to start this work with me?
Yeah. So um, I had been dating someone a bit off and on, and I was feeling stuck, not understanding really what was the dynamics that were between us, and it was that familiar confusion. And so I saw a video, and you were speaking about, connecting to ourself so that way we can connect to men as we date. And I just remember you using the word safety many times, and I could feel that that's what I wanted training with. I wanted more. I wanted to understand what that word meant, and I really wanted the mentorship of a woman who had actually walked through her own her own very firsthand experience of coming out of trauma to the body. And so that was what was really drawing me to your work, because I felt I could trust you. I could trust what you had gone through, and that you were creating something from your firsthand experience. And that's really important to me, to work with people that have experienced in some way, and have walked the journey. And I felt your commitment. I felt your passion. I felt like I could sense that you're a woman who is comfortable with feeling. And that is what I really wanted to be surrounding myself with a mentor, or with a community of women who are cultivating this, like, actually, like, this love affair with emotion. So instead of like thinking that emotion is this like dirty word or something to be embarrassed or ashamed about, but instead to really celebrate it and have fun with it, actually, to have fun with it. And so that's really what I gained from that, just that first initial contact with you. And then the other thing was just seeing how, you know, you would express yourself in relationship to Jason, and how you and Jason were in some ways still kind of working together, or sharing both of your knowledge and your wisdom with people. I remember you saying that he was working with men and that you're working with women. And that was something that was really satisfying to me, because just to know that even your own partner does similar work for men, I find that I'm really drawn to actually men that are doing a lot of conscious work on themselves. And so the fact that I knew you were with a man who also does conscious work on himself, that is something I want to surround myself around, is men and women who are on the path of self inquiry.
Yes, amen.
Yeah.
There is something really special about partnering with someone, like Jason, who's also deeply committed to doing his work. And I know a lot of women are really craving that, craving conscious men and conscious partnership and conscious masculine. So tell me a bit about the transformation from when we first connected to where you're at now.
Yeah. So, well, I first of all just want to say that, like, your program is amazing. And I find that it's amazing because it's like it encompasses and embodies for me the shadow and the light, and what is perhaps difficult to go through, but with the foundation that going through and being with everything that's arising is actually the way through, and the way to the sense of ease and safety within our bodies to actually express. So I just feel like the program, it encompasses the totality of the experience of actually being a woman. So I really appreciated. And so because of that, I felt really comfortable to be in all of my, what seemed kind of messy and chaotic at the time, and like not really knowing how to date again, and not knowing how to put myself out there, and feeling super, super awkward, and just without any skills. And then little by little, as I dated, I started to see that all of the men that I was dating, they were a pure reflection of where I was at. And so I was able to, instead of, be scared of what I was meeting, I was able to have a new mindset. So I transformed from being fear of dating to this like a curiosity about my awakening, about who I really am, because it was like kind of became amusing in a way because I got to see myself reflected in every single man. And the more I healed myself, I saw the quality of men who I was dating, their caliber, and the way that their integrity and their sense of safety within themselves was improving, because I don't want to say improving, but just more embodied, and therefore then having more very just clear and confident communication with themselves and with me. And so it just felt like everything was maturing. I went from like a little child in dating to like a much more mature version of myself, still having fun, but like just more confident. So the transformation feels like a rebirthing. I'm just growing, and I'm still growing. I'm not in relationship with anyone right now, but my relationship with myself and with my daughter is much more safe and secure because I feel more comfortable with all of my emotions.
Hmm. Yes, and I love how you talked about your daughter, how important it is for those of you watching the replay or watching live who have children to really role model the relationship you have with yourself and creating safety and being feminine and safety in the emotional experience. So many women don't have mothers who were able to be vulnerable and able to be feminine in a way that was still powerful and that set healthy boundaries and all of that. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then can you tell us about, how did you overcome any of the challenges during the program or in the last few months? Like, yeah, how did you get through those? Maybe for people who are feeling like they're about to give up hope.
Well, the thing that I always go back to in your program is actually I don't remember which chapter it is, but there's this great meditation, Violet, that you do. And it's basically where you're just saying, we're doing this breath work, right? And I think we're doing deep breath work. And meanwhile, you're simultaneously saying, I am safe to love myself. I am safe to feel. I am safe to be myself. I am safe. And I still go back to that meditation because I find that it's whenever I'm going through something really challenging, really difficult, that going into my breath helps me actually access my heart. And then hearing simultaneously the words that I'm safe, it's like repatterning my mind. So that way, when I'm in a situation with a man or my daughter or in any relationship, that I can remember I'm safe in this moment, and I can be very present to what I feel. And also there's something you said to me. So it's that meditation that really has gotten me through a lot. And then there's something else that you once told me in a coaching call. You just said, Meisha, you have to feel and reveal. It's a constant, like, feel, reveal, then feel, reveal. And that was like a new concept for me. Like, really? I can actually feel and then reveal? Like, I don't have to like suppress it, you know? And it was so liberating. That's just what I can say, is just liberating. And I'm still practicing it, Violet, but every time I do it, it works. And I was just having this thing with my daughter, because there was just this like weird energy between her and I. We spend so much time together, and it was, I try to be sometimes as a mom, like, oh, I've got it all together and like I'm fine, and I don't want to burden her with my emotions. That's my thought, this like old thought, like that I'm burdening somebody with my emotions. So, she didn't really have the tools at the time to like say, and I kept saying, hey, Simone, like, what's wrong? And she's just throwing herself all around the room, like, I don't know, Mom. I just get away from me. And then I realized, like, I'm feeling really grumpy. I'm feeling uncomfortable about something, but I don't even know what it is. And then I just started to say it. Like, I just started to feel and reveal. I said, I feel really frustrated right now, and I don't know why. And it's frustrating when I don't know why I don't know what I feel. But I don't know if you ever feel like this, Simone, but I feel like this right now. And I feel like I want to pull my hair out. It's like, I was like embodying it, right? Like, I wasn't ignoring it. I just let it be. And then she just came right over to me, and she had tears in her eyes, and she's like, Mama, she's like, I kind of feel like you do too. And I just know it's going to be okay. And I said, yeah, I know it's going to be okay too. And I was able to actually express some things that I feel upset about her father, and normally I don't say anything to her about my frustration or my anger toward her father. I normally don't say anything. And well, I'm just learning that the more I am saying how I feel around her, and I'm not afraid of the anger. It's just an emotion, right? And it's actually a reclamation of my power and actually my safety. That it's when I say I'm feeling angry about something, I'm actually keeping myself really safe. And so I know that I'm teaching her how to expect more from a man. Like to the thing that has frustrated me so much in the past about her father, and that still does, I think, sometimes, is that it's like I just kind of settle for crumbs with him, and I'm tired of my own that's I'm angry in some ways, like at my own self, while I'm still being really like loving toward myself. But something about even being a little bit like frustrated with myself and telling her that, like, I really expect more, and I expect more from a man. And I think that really resonated with her because I've been putting a band-aid on what is acceptable within my own self and within our own family dynamic, that I'm looking for a man that's actually going to be able to show up in a daily way with a lot of heart and a lot of empathy and a lot of joy. And we still don't have that connection with her father. And so before, I was just pushing it under the rug and I was dealing with it on my own, but my daughter would feel it. And so I really feel passionate about just like helping other single moms, that are like trying to hold it all together. And at the same time, I feel like actually holding it all together is like letting it all fall apart. And not being afraid, because what's actually I'm learning is what's falling apart is the old paradigm. It's the old fear. The old fears are falling apart, and they have to fall apart in order for there to be the authenticity to come through, which made more of a connection and more trust for my daughter and I. So
Meisha, that's beautiful. I really appreciate you sharing that and how you deepened your trust with your daughter through deepening your trust with yourself and your own expression.
yeah.
And also through recognizing this part of you that wanted to minimize and settle for crumbs, as you said, and instead really committing to having a greater partnership and committing to having a greater relationship with yourself. So you took that first step to really commit to yourself, to be aware to changes you need to make, and then actually to go for it, to show up and do the work and do the practices and say yes to yourself. So do you want to share with us briefly any of the delicious dating experiences that you experienced when you were in the program?
Yeah. So I went on a really awesome date. And it was it was one date, but it was so romantic, and it was so passionate, and it was so affirming, or it was affirming my feminine energy. And I could feel that I was about to go on that date, because I had just done some sort of like, it was in one of the group calls, and I had listened to it later, and you were talking about like, just put on your favorite music and like dance around your room and like touch your body. And I just was like, I had this pure pleasure. I really let myself go and be loose with your guidance and with the music I was playing. And then later I wrote in my journal that I just want to feel like this sensual touch. And I did. I went on this date with this guy, and he was so romantic, and it didn't go anywhere, because ultimately I don't think either he or I were really ready for anything more than that. But I actually was so grateful for that connection with him. And it was really a lovely, it was a really lovely date. And then also, I also went on some other dates where I felt I was just getting out of my comfort zone of like staying home on a Friday night and just saying, oh, I'll just, stay at home. And then there you were, like I had a coaching session with you, and you're like, okay, well, what's going to expand you? Are you going to like just stay at home, or are you going to go out on a date and like just try something brand new? Even if you don't know if you're going to like this guy, it doesn't matter. And I just had that mantra in my head, like, is this going to expand me, or is it going to like keep me stagnant and still? And so just by, these little words that you would share, it really like sunk in with me if something resonated, and I let it guide my decisions outside of what I would normally do. And so I did. I had a really nice date with this man, and he was really very much a gentleman, and asking very, very poignant questions about my future and what I look toward, and what I see in the next 5 years. And when we decided not to continue dating, it was very mature, and it was very loving, and very thoughtful. And so I know that as I continue to date, I'll keep gaining more and more confidence, and drawing in more pleasure, for sure. and also drawing in more respect. So that way every date is respectful and conscious, and there is awareness, and there isn't any like, oh, I think I need to have this date because I need something in my life, or I need to feel safe, or I need anything. It's more like, I know I'll get my needs met, but it's not, but I'm not doing this to get needs met, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really sounds like you're coming from a place of already knowing and honoring your wholeness and your fullness and your radiance and connection to yourself. So you're not searching for that from a man, and so you're able to have so much more pleasure, connection, and healthy dating experiences. So that's amazing, Meisha. I'm so proud of you and the new relationship that you're building, refined relationship that you're building with your sister, or your daughter.
Yes.
But also with all the people in your life. And so, I mean, it sounds like you've also had just a new experience of the masculine with your business partnerships and the other men in your life as well.
Yeah, I feel I'm actually stepping more into my masculine as I step into my feminine. It's like I'm creating this space where I am honoring completely um with unwavering presence every single emotion. And it's like, it for me, it starts with presence. It just, like, stay present right now, right with what you feel. You feel shame, you feel guilt. Okay, my love, tell me more about that. And I talk to myself like I would like the man to talk to me, you know? I start to talk to myself like, I can hold the space for all of that. I tell myself that I can hold the space for all of that. I'm not afraid of any of that, my love. Just show me what you got. Tell me who you are. I want to know everything about you. I want to know your fears. I want to know what you feel shamed about. I want to know I want to know you. I want to know everything about you. I want to see you when you're naked. I want to see you when you're dressed up. I want to see you with your hair down. I want to see you with your hair in your wrap. I want to just see all of you. Like, that's how I'm talking to myself. And that feels really good, because then when I meet a man that can't actually give me what I already give myself, I'm like, oh God, whatever. I can give all that to myself. I don't, if you can't match the way that I treat myself, like, really, you don't really belong in my life, you know? Like, yeah, you can, you know,
absolutely.
maybe I can have a conversation with you, but I'm not going to date with you. And I think that's what it is. Honestly, for me, I've become this like fierce protector of my feminine energy. And I did not have that before. Now I feel like I am my own protector. And I swear nobody is going to get into my life or touch my body or anything that does not belong in my space. And it's not to, you know, be mean or anything. And I think maybe I had this thought that that was like somehow mean to another. But what I recognize now is that I was doing that at the expense of my own protection, because I was trying to protect their feelings. And that is not love. That's not self-love to me anymore. Self-love is about respecting who I am and respecting every bit of my body and my mind. And if there is anything that comes in that's not to my satisfaction, I'm going to release it. And I'm going to release it with love, but my boundaries are much more clear. And
it sounds like that. Yeah. I want to celebrate you for integrating the masculine and the feminine. And a lot of what I work with my clients like you on is not just reclaiming our feminine, but also integrating our masculine and feminine energies so that we can feel balanced and we can create sacred union within ourselves, so we can create it with a partner as well. And so I love how the idea of feeling before like you weren't safe, and now you feel like I'm totally safe. I can protect myself. I have really good boundaries. Like, that's a massive shift. That's amazing.
It's really massive. Yeah. And I think that, you know, you really helped me move through the shame, because like, for example, if I have time to say it, do I have a moment more?
Oh, yeah, we have a few more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that really romantic date that I went on. Remember, I don't know if you remember, Pei, his name was Pei. And he was really just like this romantic guy, and he was really amazing. And after that finished, I felt this like shame, as if I did something wrong, like that old pattern was resurfacing. And I remember you saying to me, you know, Meisha, I know that you're feeling the shame, but I want you to take that cloak of shame. It was like you were like, I want you to envision that the shame is like this coat and you are peeling it off of you. And you're just going to stand there naked, like in all of your vulnerability. And that's something also like that I felt those words of wisdom and like embodying. I feel like the embodying piece is just so important. Like that's what you're really good at doing, is like giving the words and then giving us a way to like hold on to the, so it was the taking off the cloak, releasing the shame. And that was the start for me to release shame, to like notice that it was there. I didn't do anything wrong. There isn't something wrong because this is not the right guy for me. In fact, it was like so right in so many ways. Why? Because I was able to experience like the romance, but then I was actually able to experience the shame that was ready to be let go of. And so now I'm just viewing this dating as this, it's like a path of spiritual awakening. It's a path of my reclamation of my true self. Whether the guy is, you know, somebody I want to continue dating or not, it's all just play, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
amen. I'm so glad you shared that, Meisha. That's really important. And a lot of the work that I do is just around that, is releasing the shame and recovering our essence and our light and our permission to be ourselves, to be feminine and expressive, and healthy boundaries and knowing our worth, and all of those things. So do you have any other last words of insight or sharing that you want to do before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want to just say to all women, and including myself, to keep going with the embodiment practices, the practices that allow us to feel our inside of our body, and everything that you teach us, like just any little breathing or like feeling our body, touching our body. For me, that was the one of the most important things, is the embodiment, and to feel good in our body, feel pleasure again.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, because that is like a hallmark of the work that I do, is how important it is to be in touch with our bodies and be embodied. And that word may sound a little bit foreign to some of you that are watching, but there's a lot of work out there about, shift your mind and everything changes. And while that can be true, and I'm definitely a fan of like affirmations and all of those things, it needs to be a dual process of both change from the mind down to the body, but also change within the body. Because if we're not comfortable in this house that we live in, and we don't feel connected to our feelings and sensations, then we can have this disconnect, and in that process attract men who are also not embodied and who may not have the integrity or the alignment that we're looking for. So really grateful that you touched on that, Meisha. And if anyone watching wants to discover what that might look like for themselves, embodiment and having what they want and attracting the right sort of man, then I totally encourage you to set up some time to have a Breakthrough to Love session. I'll put I'll put the link in the comments. You can select your free time, and that's really for women who are committed to changing their love life and who are ready to do the inner work, like Meisha was describing, of course, with the guidance and support of a community. So, Meisha, thank you so much for being
You're
here. I
welcome.
just love seeing your radiant smile and having you a part of our tribe. So, thank you for sharing your heart and your wisdom and all of your delicious dating experiences and the way your relationships have transformed. And I just see that continuing with such integrated alignment and queenly energy that you're embodying now. So, thank you so much, Meisha. So much love to you.
So much love to you too. Bye, queens.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.
Bye.